We are getting ready to do our interview here at the old Benton jail. Just setting up the camera, getting ready. Alright. We got power. There we go. Alright, we got power. Alright. We're going to go ahead and start the interviews.
Am I just going to talk in or am I going to hear them?
You're going to be on camera.
I don't want any close-ups.
Oh, we're not.
No closer than 8 feet away. I've had a bad experience with a news program
Okay.
that came in here about something or other years ago, and they had zoomed in, and when it was on television, it was like your whole face was as big as a screen, and I go,
Okay.
I don't like that.
Well, I mean, I'll have you probably stand right here, and the deal is, it's not going to be one of those deals that you're constantly going to be.
Yeah.
We take tidbits of your information, like if I did the history of the building and stuff.
We had somebody else did that
Yeah,
too.
and we just take a little bit of your, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we put it in with the episode. We don't have like a whole random.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Sometimes I'll go.
I just
over
didn't want any zoom ins, like, you know, far away.
Alright, I'm going to need for you to stand probably right about.
She don't want to be directly in front.
At least 8 feet
She
away.
wants to be
from me.
able
I don't
to-
want any close-up zoom
She don't want
ins.
close-ups.
Okay.
Just a shot. I mean, you can, you know, like this. If you can see me standing here
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
talking casually.
That's fine. You need to be over on this side.
Okay.
Not too bright for you, is it?
No, it's kind of very, but it's not too bad.
Is she good at standing, or does she need to be more of a center?
Do what?
Does she need to be on the side, or does she need to be on the center?
I'm in front of that in the cell block.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'll go ahead and start on this one. Okay, that one recorded. Let me get this one going. This one's starting to have problems.
What's it doing?
No signal. Having signal issues.
The battery died out on it.
Oh, again?
Yeah,
Really?
it's crazy, I know. I'm just gonna run it on this one. Turn this one off.
Yeah, it says no signal.
Yeah, I can't get it to.
That way I can kind of get you at an angle while you're talking that way, which is kind of cool. So you'll still be talking that way, but I'll still get you at an angle.
Oh,
Yeah. You kind of do it.
okay.
We're thinking we'll put the 360 in here tonight and let it film the whole atmosphere at one time. It slowly turns.
Oh, yeah.
get this zoomed in.
Am I supposed to look at that at any
No.
time?
No, no, no.
Okay.
Pretend that doesn't exist.
Okay. Just wanted to get my piece.
Yeah. You're just gonna hopefully focus on this camera or me. We don't want to look at the camera, just look at me. Sometimes when we throw questions at you, it'll hear my voice, but it will not see me, it will only see you.
Okay.
Okay. That one's good. I want to make sure this one doesn't show the other camera. And it doesn't. Okay, go for it.
Okay. State your name and what do you do here?
My name is Annie, and I'm a director for the Historic Preservation Society, and I do volunteer work here in the museum.
How long have you been here?
Right, 18 years this next month.
Tell me a little history about the jail.
Well, it was built in 1905 and opened in 1906 and stayed open until 1990 until the new jail was built. And Charlie Berger's been almost the entire last year of his life here. He was our most notorious cellmate.
So he's a little bit of local history here.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about Charles?
Well, he was a Russian Jew who came over when he was a child and lived in northern Illinois. And he had a brother who was grew up to be an outstanding citizen in this community and wasn't a gangster like Charlie. Then Charlie later joined the cavalry and was out west. And after that he did bronco busting, of all things. Then he came back and he opened a candy store over in Harrisburg. And then he got into the bootlegging and all the other criminal activities he's well known for.
What caused him to get in jail here?
He ordered the murder of Mayor Joe Adams in West City, who was an affiliate of his rival gang, the Shelton Gang. And he was harboring an armored truck that the Shelton Gang had used as an attack on Charlie's hideout, the Shady Rest. And Charlie had warned him several times, turn that over to me. He wouldn't do it. So he said he was going to kill him. And he did. He didn't actually do it. He had two young boys that was members of the gang did it, and he, gave the order.
Any other notable people that you might have known that were behind these wonderful steel bars?
Well, the boy that did the shooting, his brother was killed in the bombing, or the fire at Shady Rest, not the bombing, but when they blew it up. But his brother was here for a while at that time. Nobody as notable as Charlie.
Nobody
No.
knows. What stories have been given to you about maybe hauntings or any experiences you've had or stories that was told you of guests that have come through and experiencing the jail?
Well, I've had several people, local people that were here at the time that got locked up, and they've talked about fights that they had in here or why they were brought in. Anything spectacular there. The one thing that I have not liked about this is when I first started working in here, I was coming through looking at all the graffiti and the pictures on the south block walls, and I would go in and read them, and I got to this one that we're standing here now, and I couldn't bring myself to go in there. I got really cold chills all over, and for some reason I just couldn't go inside. And to this day, I still get that feeling if I get up there and try to go in. And it was just like I sensed something. Always wondered if something really bad had happened in there, or somebody really evil had been in there at one time. And I can't explain it. Now that the doors are shut there, we can't get them open.
We tried that all the way.
Yeah.
What do you think is the future of this building?
Well, hopefully it remains open as a museum.
You was telling me some stories about your family has a major involvement in the past of this. Can you retell that story to me?
Oh, okay. My mother told me the stories because I didn't meet my grandparents. They had passed on, being quite a bit older before I was ever born. But when this opened in 1905, my grandfather was a deputy sheriff, and his wife cooked in here for the prisoners. Because in Illinois, the sheriff's wife's the one who did all the cooking if she wanted the job. And if she didn't, then one of the deputies' wives had it or whatever. And so I found that interesting, you know, an association that they were here. And the connection with Berger, I learned later that Henry Doris, one of our former sheriffs, who was the sheriff in the 20s, was the first cousin to my grandpa. Okay, and I learned from his grandson, from Sheriff Doris's grandson, who was an elderly man at the time, came in and told me that he was born here in this jail upstairs, not in the jail, but in the bedroom upstairs. For whatever reason, he and his mother, you know, lived here with Henry. And he told me that Henry was a friend of Charlie Berger. And you know, as you've read the book, you know that Charlie prided himself on being friends with sheriffs. And so anyway, that explained a story that I've been told by my aunt when she was a little girl and Charlie was incarcerated here. She had her dad bring her up here, who would be my grandpa, to visit him. And she said, oh, he was so nice, you know, and everything to her. And I never gave it a thought at the time, but I wondered later, you know, I thought, well, why would you just bring a child to meet him? So if his cousin, the sheriff, was friends with Charlie, it stands to reason that Grandpa probably was as well. But Charlie was noted for being nice to ordinary people like we are, you know. It's only if you were out to get it that you had something to worry about, as the stories go.
Well, so he had fondness for children, I was told.
Yes, he used to go to the schools and throw out coins, and children would get them. We had an incident happen here one time. A coin dropped just like out of the blue in there.
Yeah, you said that was when a bunch of school children had walked through and used him.
Yeah, it was really weird. I don't know where it came from. I was standing right here by it, you know, to see it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have believed it. I don't know how it happened.
Well, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
Are we interviewing? Are you interviewing the other one?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go find him. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a minute.
Trying to get this lined up here for a second.
Am I out of line?
Yeah, you're out of line.
I thought so, since that's where you were.
Yeah.
looking at it?
No, he's blurred.
No, this is different.
It's blurred.
I don't want to blur it.
I don't know why it's blurred.
Wasn't blurry. We'll just go with regular. Go with this. There we go. There we go.
Are you ready?
I'm gonna lock this down. Turn that off. Alright, you already wired up?
Yep, you ready to go?
So, okay, I got that one going, we'll get this one going. Let's do this one roll. Alright, go ahead and go back to where you were standing. Right about there. Perfect. Alright.
You ready?
I'm recording. And this one recording.
Okay. State your name.
Bill Owens.
How long have you been associated with the jail?
I've been volunteering up here for about a year and a half, off and on.
What got your struck your interest in being volunteering with the jail?
Well, my interest is more in the preservation side and history. Places I've lived around the country have been old communities that have restored a lot of the older infrastructure in the community, and I feel that needs to be done here as well, so I decided to join the Franklin County Historic Preservation Society and provide ideas and another man to fight for the cause. So, working here in the jail, I think, helps provide a lot of people with information about a lot of the older buildings in the community and a lot of the history.
What's the importance, what do you think the importance of this building is to the community? What should it stand for? In other words.
Well, I think this community lacks culture, and this being a museum, that adds some culture along with history. So a lot of passersby that stop in here are unaware of significant history within Southern Illinois. We've been able to capture that here. And unfortunately, a lot of our history has to do with the gangsters that ruled throughout during Prohibition. So that and then some of the Civil War history is here as well. So,
Can you give us a little tidbit, like give us the Cliff Note version of some of that playing in this area and associated with this building?
yeah, so we have a lot of the gangster history here associated with the Burger Gang and Charlie Burger himself. This is the site of the last public hanging in the state of Illinois, which draws many people here. They see the gallows outside, which are reproduction, and they're instantly drawn, come in the building and gather more information. Also, General John A. Logan, who was a significant player within the Civil War, most notably in Battle for Atlanta. He lived here in town, only a couple blocks from the museum, and we've been able to preserve a lot of artifacts associated with General Logan. And people aren't aware of his role here in Denton until they visit the museum. Also, very famously known George Harrison of the Beatles spent time here as a very young man, teenager, and before the Beatles were even well known within the United States, and we have some of the memorabilia from those days, mainly a radio station where he was interviewed, so we get a lot of interest in that. And what else? We have an antique car museum, features a lot of very old cars, nearing 100-year-old now, and that's a very interesting Ford garage, one block from here. So it's a lot of history packed into a very small community.
What do you know about the paranormal experience here?
I don't know a whole lot about paranormal myself. I'm not a paranormal expert, but I do know there is a lot of interest, people coming in here interested in ghost hunting, and they feel, a lot of people that come in here and take a tour of the history, see the exhibits, comment about how they feel awkward within the building, and they think that there's entities or spirits that may exist here, and they question that, and they ask myself, sitting at the desk, if I know about anything, and I say no, but we do have people that come in that are professional ghost hunters, and they have said that they have found evidence of those things being present.
Have you personally experienced anything?
I haven't seen anything firsthand. I've witnessed some strange occurrences that I can't explain, but I'm somewhat of a skeptic. However, I've had debates with other people that tell me that those are the type of things that do occur from paranormal activity. So, for instance, being locked out of the building a couple of times, or the door slamming behind me and locking has happened. I'm not sure how. The old radio here in the building will come on and blurt out things that you can't understand as though it's in a foreign language. The sounds of cell doors slamming and not understanding how that would happen. Lots of strange noises. Coins falling out of the ceiling and being found in the basement, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So a lot of people say they see people looking out of the windows in the attic, and we can't explain why that would be, because there's no access to those windows. So that's a few that's occurred.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well,
We're done.
all right.
Just come off of you. There we go. Got it.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Good luck with the hunt
We're
tonight.
planning on it.
I'm anxious to see what happens.
Yeah, if you need me, just yell. I'll be up here at the desk.
Okay.
Need anything?
All right, we got 31 minutes of interview time. So.
There was a sound. What kind of sound did you hear, Joe? What it's a 24-minute mark of a video. It almost sounded like a zipper. Well, the gentleman that was being interviewed had his jacket on with a zipper on it.
I don't know. I was back there. You saw me. I wasn't moving. Joe's got a good hearing too, by the way.
Yeah, 2 people. Got Joe and who else? I don't know. Check it out just in case. We will. Might not happen tonight though. I'm going to the front for a little bit while it's warm. It is extremely cold back here. They don't have any heat in the back of the jail.
That sounded close. Well,
We did have a jacket with
yeah, but he wasn't doing that though. Well, today we got to experiment with the Tascam 10Ls, live connected to a digital recorder. So no more wireless packs. Makes our life a hell of a lot easier. this is where I'm going to put the 360. Well, there you guys go. The ones that actually watched it, you actually got to watch a live 2 interviews. And you got to see behind the scenes how we did it. More later.